try to imagine this for a second. You're Rekkles, it's 2017, just a year before Fnatic made it to the finals of Worlds in 2018, and 2 years before G2 did the same in 2019. However, as I said, it's 2017, so we are not there yet. At the time of this story, Europe and North America were practically a laughingstock when it came to competing with Eastern teams at international tournaments, just like the way they are right now again. But anyway, back to trying to empathize with Rekkles. After starting the groups of Worlds 2017 with a major disappointment by losing to LoL Esports from Vietnam, Rekkles and the rest of Fnatic was set to face Immortals from North America next. You may think that the second game of a group stage is not that important, but I need you to realize, Fnatic had to beat Immortals if they were to have any hope for making it out of the group stage, cause they already lost to GAM, and let's be honest, there was little to no chance for an upset against Longju Gaming of Korea. Only 2 teams were going to make it out of this group, and in the eyes of Rekkles, his teammates, and the European fans, that had to be Fnatic. Have you ever felt like whatever you are striving to do, whether if it's making out of the group stage at Worlds, or any other obstacle you need to get through in your life, is weighing quite heavy on your shoulders? I'm assuming that's exactly the type of stress and weight Fnatic as a whole was feeling on the day 2 of Worlds 2017. This of course includes, and I would argue weighs even heavier on one of their star players, Rekkles. Heading onto the game on day 2, the draft for Fnatic looked very solid. Immortals' team composition was around more disengaged, and that honestly left Rekkles with all the agency in the world, since he had a Lulu alongside him. Just at 3-minute mark, Fnatic was setting up a very nice dive against the enemy bot lane, with even Caps joining from the mid. It earned them the first blood, and not only that, but it was taken by Rekkles, a huge positive, with the enemy mid laner roaming to the top lane instead. Soaz put up a valiant effort to get a 1-for-1 at least, but he unfortunately didn't manage to do that. Fnatic struck back immediately on the bot side, taking down the poor enemy ADC yet again, and just like the last time, this kill also turned into gold in the hands of Rekkles. From this point on, the whole game basically evolved into the Rekkles show. Rekkles first got a kill onto Gragas in the mid lane, and another one onto Jace shortly after. Even so, it wasn't an easy game by any means. Soaz, the top laner for Fnatic, was having some issues throughout this game, to put it lightly. He fell quite a bit behind with 2 different roams by the enemy mid laner earlier in the game, and him mistiming the Cho'Gath ultimate here was really sad for the side of Fnatic. Please don't get me wrong, he's an incredible player. Stuff like this just happens sometimes, you know? I think Fnatic still had a very high chance of winning though. While the game was surely prolonged, Rekkles was looking extremely strong. I mean, come on, we are talking about a 4-0 Twitch here. So once again, all the pressure is on him really. You read the title, alright? It's no spoiler. This video is about an epic comeback story. One that was done by Rekkles and the rest of 2017 Fnatic. But why am I keep calling it a comeback? Yeah, sure, I already gave up you the fact that they are not going to be winning any games against Longju. Still, 2 teams are going to make it out of this group, as I said. Fnatic should be able to easily get the upper hand against an NA team and a wildcard team from Vietnam, right? That first loss to game was a fluke, and I'm pretty sure Rekkles is just going to take over this game since he is so fed on a champion like Twitch.
Territory, so it might just be a huddle up and defensive here. Maybe with 45 seconds on Baron. Oh, Clemente Storm, there's the ultimate, the instant flash Rekkles, flashes in there! Oh no!
Oh well. That did not play out the way we all hoped, I guess. Instead, Rekkles died in a horrible attempt. He was trying to catch Pobelter, which only resulted in basically losing his team the entire game. Like, this is devastating. It must be. I also forgot to mention, Fnatic and Rekkles took the long way to even get to the group stage. They had to go through the play-ins first because they did not necessarily have the best regular season in the LEC, then known as EULCS. So, going 0-2 in the first games against the teams everyone thought they had the highest chance of beating must have been so incredibly tough for the Fnatic crew. It really sucks, but it is what it is. All the expectations from their fans and themselves were completely let down. We are all league players here, alright? No need to be shy. I know for a fact, somewhere along your solo queue journey, you solo lost an entire game somehow, some way. Remember how that felt, and just try to imagine how bad losing a game like this on the biggest stage one can play must have felt. I heard some people are accusing Rekkles of many things recently. I personally think when it comes to him, one thing is for sure. He is not a quitter, not even close, and he has the receipts to back that up. Same goes for the rest of Fnatic that year. Like, just look at this roster. Soaz, Broxa, Caps, Jazzis, all of them are legends in their own right, and I feel like I don't even have to say that to you. While I believe they are great players with all my heart, I also have to admit, the hole they dug for themselves in this tournament is quite deep indeed. From this point on, they had to make sure they win every single game they possibly could. So basically, the only way out of the group stage for Fnatic was to force a tiebreaker with Gam and Immortals. At the same time, in order for that 3-way tiebreaker scenario to play out, there must be no upsets between any of the other teams and Longzhu, considering Longzhu would be the number 1 from this group regardless. It's a tricky situation, I know, and you know what they say. The best solution for something like this is to never be in such a position in the first place, but yet here we are. As if all the stress up until this point wasn't enough, Fnatic tasted defeat 2 more times in the hands of Longzhu, which was unsurprising unlike the earlier games. One good thing about getting those games against Longzhu out of the way was that Fnatic could finally assess their one and only way to victory, and be 100% laser focused on it, you know? Like their first game together, the second game between Immortals and Fnatic was rather a slow game, one that was going to be decided by team fights later on. In the early game, Caps and Brox's synergy showed up big time. Regardless of that, of course Immortals wasn't just going to roll over and give up. By the way, it's crazy to look back and see how passive some of the games from this era was. Seeing a handful of kills only leading into the first Baron fight surely feels a little bit weird. Thankfully, Fnatic got to secure the Baron here unlike the last time, allowing them to build a couple thousand worth of gold lead, which was nice. The team fights though were still a back and forth between the two teams. Even though they lost to Baron, Immortals started getting the best of Fnatic in the late game. With a few team fights ending in their favor, they even took the second Baron, giving them the gold lead back. Fnatic and Rekkles once again had their backs against the wall, as they lost almost everything in mid and the tier 3 tower in the top lane. Shortly after that, Immortals tried to siege bot tier 2 as well. In response, Fnatic finally decided to make a stand here. The amount of CC they applied on the Maokai is beyond insane, by the way, like what's that? Despite Soaz also dying, Fnatic still had 4 versus Immortals 3, as Immortals was being chased down in almost poetic fashion. Immortals ADC Kodi-san made a questionable flash play that amounted to nothing. One could say it yielded quite a similar result to what Rekkles did in the first game, you know? Talking about being poetic and dramatic, the actual ending of this game was also exactly that. Fnatic, even while winning, was on the verge of losing simultaneously. I'm telling you, they almost lost it all. Imagine if the Gen auto doesn't go off here. I for one, I'm really glad it did. I feel like life is about ups and downs. I believe if Rekkles and Fnatic wasn't pushed to the breaking point, we would not see them as happy as they were in this moment. Still, the job was not yet done. Fnatic's final regular game in the group stage was against Gam, the team that got them off to a wrong start at this tournament in the first place. While seeing Rekkles lock in Twitch gave some bad, and I would even say traumatic flashbacks in the context of this world, he delivered an absolute stellar performance with the help of his team, so no problems there. Looking back, after these 2 straight victories against Gam and Immortals, it totally felt like the first 2 games were indeed some sort of a fluke. I'm not saying that to take anything away from Gam or Immortals, but at the end of the day, Fnatic made it clear. As long as they showed up, they were just simply better. The results of the tiebreakers showed just that. The first game against Immortals wasn't even close. The second game, in true Gam fashion, Gam made it as hard as humanly possible for Fnatic to grab the victory. In the end, their resistance was futile against Fnatic with all the momentum in the world. Caps, Rekkles, and the rest of Fnatic knew they had to complete the miracle run. There was nothing that could stop them from doing that. Unfortunately, after everything they had been through at Worlds 2017, Fnatic said goodbye to the tournament by losing in a rather disappointing way against RNG in the quarterfinals. However, I sincerely believe this very hard road they took to get there prepared them for the major success they were bound to have next year. That's a story for another time, which I will definitely share with you here soon, so if that sounds interesting, please make sure to subscribe. Until then, don't forget to take good care of yourself, alright? Cheers!